Yo, what is up? Productivity and profit. Just canceled my 3:30 on Pacific time, so 3:30, and I'm using this what do you call it? This software again. So if you leave comments, I will not. I'll see the comments, but I won't be able to see who's dropping them. So here is. I'm going to call a spade because sometimes I just see stuff or I hear stuff on the phone or in person, and I just kind of want to brain dump and hope that it's useful. The number of people that say they're workaholics and they're obsessed with work and it's hurting their social life because they feel guilty or shameful for being away from the computer are, excuse my language, fucking delusional. Okay? Because workaholics, sitting in front of the computer is not work. Refreshing your Facebook. Somebody said, I'm a workaholic. I just sit here and make YouTube videos all day long and I can't go out and be social. You're not a workaholic. You're probably narcissistic, right? Because there are a lot of things that are harder work and more productive than refreshing YouTube and making videos all day. So I want to talk about the core of that. I want to talk about why people think the internet is work. It's not. It's not. So people that say, I can't get away from the computer. I feel so guilty and so shameful. I'm a workaholic. I sit on the computer for 15 hours a day. You're not a workaholic. That's not the problem. You're trying to solve the wrong problem. Work, if you see behind me, a couple hundred pages of notes. There's a book I'm highlighting and reading. There's some newsletters that I wrote. Work is doing something that produces an outcome, right? Like, so if you can't get away from your computer, and this is just, I've talked to a lot of clients that feel guilty when they're not working. But the real problem is they feel guilty when they're not sitting at their computer refreshing Facebook, right? So it's not the problem. Workaholics are like Gary Vee is a workaholic. You know what he does? He goes to garage sales and he buys stuff and then he sells it, right? But he does not sit in front of the computer all day. He gets followed around with a camera, which is very different than doing this. Like I would never tell people I'm a workaholic because I do Facebook Lives all day long, because I'm like realistic enough to know this is playtime for me. The work is the reading, the writing, the consulting, the business building that gave me the experience to come here and maybe provide a different insight or a different perspective. That's the work. The work is not sitting on the fucking computer. So let's call a spade a spade. A lot of people think they're workaholics. A lot of people think they're grinding away because they're tired and they don't know what to do. But sitting on Facebook, refreshing it, and then opening Instagram, and then going live like this and making a bunch of YouTube videos is not work. This is the fun part, right? So if you think this is work, you are very, very, very thin ice, a very, very dangerous territory. I just want to share that because I do know people that feel guilty for walking away from the computer. And if you feel guilty from walking away from the computer, you don't actually know how to be productive, which is a problem. And you're also trying to solve the wrong problem because workaholics don't sit in front of a computer all day long. People that are trying to avoid the real world sit in front of a computer all day long. So think about that. But the more important, the lesson is what really we need to sit about what problem we're trying to solve, right? Because again, staring at a blank Word document or staring at Facebook, trying to come up with a really creative, organic post is not work. It's not. The work is everything you did that gave you the experience and the inspiration and the authority to write the post in the first place. The post is just an outlet. It's just sharing. If you think sharing a story is work, then you're going to burn out and be poor anyway. So sharing that, sometimes I just get in the mood to rant. And I hashtag this business, which means it's going to end up on my podcast, which is awesome. But share that with you. The hardest workers I know don't spend a lot of time in front of the computer. They really don't. I spend a good deal amount of time in front of the computer. I still spend most of the time not in front of the computer. Wanted to share that. So hopefully it's useful. Hopefully it helps you reflect on Like, what is moving the needle? What is work? We tend to do a lot of things that are not productive, but because we don't know what else to do, we feel guilty for like doing something. Like, we don't know what to do, so we feel guilty for doing something, and somehow we convince ourselves that sitting in front of the computer is productive or work, and it's not. Very, very rarely is sitting in front of the computer making YouTube videos actually like the work that needs to be done. So that is that. I actually in Nick's Miss, I kind of break down the natural ebbs and flows of your life and your business and your psychology. And most people are doing things that they can consider them, or they've been sold. They've been told that the way you make money is online, work is online. Real work is never online. Maybe sometimes, maybe you read, a double blind study online because you have access to it. But the real work, see those books? That's like work to process those. They're not on the computer. So don't fall into the trap of feeling guilty for sitting at the computer. Just go do something. Go do something in the real world. It's going to be far more productive than guilting yourself and shaming yourself for not sitting here seeing whatever the hell your friends are posting or coming up with the next great. If you have to sit down and you can't think of an organic Facebook post or a story to tell, then you're not doing enough work. It is the work that creates the content. The content itself is not the work. Think about that. If you're having a hard time coming up with content, you know why I'm having this conversation right now? Because I worked all day. I helped people, and like 3 or 4 people run into this same freaking problem. So now I have content because I did work. That's how it works. Cool. All right. I'm going to address this in my February newsletter. So if you're on the paid newsletter, awesome. I'll kind of break this down and show you how it manifests and how to address it. If you're not on the paid newsletter, that's fine too. It's print. So if you're one of those people that thinks work is on the computer, you're not going to like my newsletter because it's not on the computer. So there's that. I see comments coming in, but I don't know who's leaving them. I don't really spend a lot of time on the Facebooks. I post stuff to Facebook, but I don't really spend time like tinkering there. So I see engagements. I don't know who's leaving them, but you're awesome, whoever you are. And hopefully it's useful. Think about that and just do stuff. Just go do stuff off the computer. Like for many, 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 many hours a week, go do stuff that is not in front of your freaking computer, and you will do better work and you'll get more work done. Cool.